Hi, good evening. Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, I had yet another, I don't know, 2 or 3 or more letters from lovely ladies who are hoping to meet a foreigner and live in the Philippines like Beth and I do. And no matter how many times I say we have really very few in the area friends who are foreigners. There's just no great multitude of foreigners here, and all of the ones that are here are all in committed relationships, and the ones that aren't in a committed relationships you wouldn't want to be with. So how best to help? All of the requests that I get to help Filipinos to connect with a foreigner, I'm unable to help with, directly, except you can go to the Christian dating site, and you can go there and you can find someone who is Christian. Now, is it necessary to find someone who is Christian? Well, for me personally, that would be a wise move. People who are already on an established spiritual path are going to be a much better bet, and let's face it, at some point when you're actually talking to someone with the intention of possibly spending the rest of your life with them, that can be a bet. So perhaps this video should be not about how I can't help, but about suggestions as to how you should go about it. Now, the first thing that you have to do is an adjustment to yourself. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female. It doesn't matter whether you're the much coveted foreigner or whether you're the Filipina. You have to come to terms in your mind, in your heart, in your mind, that that's what you want. Not just that that's what you want. You need to have gone over in your mind all of the obstacles that you may feel are there. Now, if, like many of the people that have written to me have said, they've had many sad stories. The advice letter that we did a video of tonight was what could be a sad story. The man had finally met someone here in the Philippines that in his mind was wonderful, in his eye was wonderful. She was more beautiful than he ever thought he could hope for. She was intelligent, she was at college, she was working hard, and unfortunately she misled him about the fact that she had a child. And unfortunately he had made it clear right at the beginning, when he thought that she didn't have a child, that he didn't want a Filipina who had a child. And the reason for that was he felt that it would complicate things for her coming over to his home in another country and finding out whether she would actually like to be there. So one lie led to a lot of deceit, and after that, of course, any time that someone has told you a lie, and you need to listen to this, because right at the very beginning, when you meet someone, you need to tell the truth. And if the truth doesn't suit them, then they're not for you. Sorry, I had to break off for a couple of minutes there. I thought my wife was dying of cough. So, you need to be totally yourself. And heaven knows, every religion every religion, especially the Buddhist religion, is in pursuit of the real self. That self which is not trying to please anyone else, is just doing exactly what they want to do in the life that they have created for themselves. So that's why I believe that you have to be ready. And even though most people will say, I'm ready, they haven't attended to business. And they haven't looked at what they really want. They haven't looked at their own value as a person. Because if you have no value as a person, if you have no value of yourself as a person, you'll give yourself away. That's why when a foreigner comes over sometimes, and they may be just a sex tourist, and they happen upon some young Filipina who is beautiful and is willing, and oh boy, they'll take it, and they'll have a great time, and then they'll go home, and it will come to nothing. Meanwhile, the young woman, who may well have been a virgin up to that point, and religious, and in with a good family, will have felt cheated. So make up your mind who and what you want, and don't give yourself away. Don't give it all away right at the beginning. The ones who are valued the best are the ones who say, this is what I want, and I want to be sure that you are the one. And then the time together should be spent in trying to decide whether you would really want to be with that person. That's not an easy thing. Believe me, it's not an easy thing, because you have to be comfortable with yourself, and you have to be aware of what that other person is. Now, what are we usually talking about when a foreigner comes over here to meet a Filipina? It's a mixed cultural marriage, or union, or friendship, or boy and girl. It's mixed, and the two cultures have to at least have come to terms each with the other culture. And if they haven't, then down the road it will all come to nothing, because neither has made the adjustments that are needed in order to be happy with that other culture. Now, why would that not be an easy thing? Right. Let me tell you that if you have a black man and a Filipina come over, right? So let's say that the black American comes over, and he is handsome. He may be light-skinned enough. I'm not speaking politically correct now. I'm speaking the way that reality is. He may be certainly handsome enough, and he'll be tall, and if he's a young man, he'll be in good shape, because the African Americans usually are. Now, she will see him in isolation to everything else, and let's say that she's going to go to America, which is possibly every Filipino's dream, to go to America. It's ingrained, it's inborn in them, and no matter what you say, you cannot tell them otherwise. So she's going to go to America. Now, when she goes to America, guess what? She's going to be in an extended new family of black people who have their own culture, which is strong, firm, maybe much louder than she is used to. Americans, it's a factual thing that Americans will speak louder than, say, the Brits or the Aussies. It's just a fact. When I first went to America, people used to complain to me that I didn't speak loud enough. So it's a fact. Now, that's just one of the things that she will have to put up with. Now, let's change it. Let's say that a Filipina has found an Arab person, so an Arab man, and he comes over here, he's handsome, has money, is everything that she wants. Now, depending on which Arab country she goes to, when she joins him in his world, she will find life very, very different. Because in some Arab cultures, the woman lives in a compound with the other women, and she will be a junior to everybody else that's there, and will be treated as a junior. That's the culture. And if it's Sharia law, she may well be required to wear the burqa, which I call the Batman outfit, a long black flowing dress, and a face mask, something where she's only allowed to show her eyes, which will be totally alien to her, and which will work until it doesn't. Until she finally settles back into her own culture. Now, if she goes, let's say that she finds a relationship with a Canadian. Now, Canadians are great people. They live in a land of extreme weather. You know, you go and you settle around the area of Niagara Falls, and boy, you are in for it when the bad weather comes. And it comes for, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 months of the year. Now, are you going to be able, as a Filipina, to handle that? Now, when I came here from Florida, I was already acclimatized. I'd lived for many years in California, then I lived for many years in Florida. Coming here, there was nothing to be adjusted to. The weather was just perfect for me, because I was already used to Florida. Now, talking about Canadians and their cold weather, in the winter, Canadians who are retired come down to Florida to spend the winter, the Canadian winter, in Florida. These changes are a fact of life. If you have a relationship with someone from any other culture, there will be extreme differences in the way that that culture lives compared to how you are used to living. Now, if you go to America, almost any part of America, a Filipino will find that the family is not as connected. Culturally, they're not as connected. They're not as close. When my son finally left home, when I was living in Florida, he lived about 10 minutes away from me, and I used to see him month by month. I wouldn't see him. Now, maybe that's just a reflection on my relationship with him, but we'd spent all of his life together, so he already knew me very, very well, and we used to enjoy an occasional McDonald's or a meal here or there, or he would need some help or I would need some help, and I could call him and he would come and I would go to him. But it was not the same as a Filipina. Now, a Filipina almost by definition will be together with other people. For Beth and I, our relationship is, I am quite happy to have children with us. We seldom go out anywhere without taking some children with us. So Taliklik, who is 14, and Bibi, and we have 2 neighborhood children who love to come out with us, and we have fun. It's not it's not a burden in the same way that perhaps in Britain or in the UK or in Australia or in any other land, any other country, where children are looked at in the same way. If my mother-in-law goes out into town, she would never go out alone. She would always take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 children with her, and they would accompany her. And this is a cultural thing. Now, for me, it was totally fine. But if someone else came, married his Filipina, and then finds that the house is always full of people. We had actually one of our friends who recently found that when he joined up with his girlfriend and they're living together, he had to try to find somewhere else where he could actually spend some alone time, because the house was always full of people. It's not one of those things where as in, say, the UK or America, where people who are visiting knock on the front door and you go to the door and open it. No, there's no such thing as that. The doors are always open. So be sure that you can fit in with the culture that you are going to go into, and educate yourself into what the extreme differences, as in the two that I've cited, say Black American, Arab, or British. You need to be able to fit in with that extended family. Now, I have an extended family of Filipinos, and I am comfortable with that, because I don't expect them to change for me. Now, here's the thing, very common in foreign countries. I know in in the UK, if a group of, say, Filipinos were all together and there was one non-speaking British person there, they would actually expect, from a point of view of good manners, they would expect all the Filipinos to talk English. That's not going to happen here. People will, without even thinking of it, expect, and quite rightly so, they will expect the foreigner to learn the language. And you know what? That's what Americans would expect, that's what British would expect, or Australians, or Germany. If a Filipino goes to Germany, I've heard, don't quote me on this, but we spoke to a young woman in the airport once who actually had a German boyfriend, and she was going to Germany to spend a visit there. And she was going to have to learn German. No questions about it, and apparently she would be tested on it. So there will be demands, and you will need to meet them. So be sure of what you want. Now, just a quick one to end off. When I go on Facebook and I'm scrolling down, every so often I will come across what is like a horizontal band. I'm scrolling down like this, but then I'll come across pictures which go that way, or that way for me, right? And it would be called stories. And in those, I would see countless picture after picture after picture of both men and women who have taken their picture and posted that. And you can click on that and you can communicate to that person. That would be one way. Certainly, I see lots of attractive men, I see lots of attractive women, and they must be putting their photo there for some reason. Well, you'll very quickly find out if they're married. You can click on that, and you can go and you can find their profile, and you can go to their profile and find out whether they're married. So that's a tip that I would give you if you don't like the idea of going to the Christian dating site. But I've had people who have written to me and said that they've met people, good people, on the Christian dating site. So, good luck. I hope this helps you. But for those who've written to me, I can't find you a foreigner. Sorry, so you have to listen to this video carefully again if you need, and make up your mind that you're going to find the person. Open the door of your heart, and eventually it will happen. Good luck. Bye for now.